Young Link has only been listening to SoundCloud rappers for a while now. He took the O out of his name. Now he's Young Link.
Oh my god. The O and the I. Young Link.
Yeah. Mallory caught a gopher?
Yeah, dude, she fucking offs them. She caps them pretty hard.
She shoots them with a gun.
I mean, when she doesn't just crush their skulls with the boot of her shoe.
Mallory! I'm playing a lot of Animal Crossing right now. This is tough for me to hear.
Mallory also hates raccoons, so I don't think she'd ever be able to play Animal Crossing with Tom Nook in there.
I think so. I think she wouldn't be a big friend of Tom's.
No, she, is terrified and disgusted and hates raccoons.
Huh. I mean, they crawl around the trash, and they give you very high-priced loans for your car, your house, but...
No interest.
No interest. No interest at all.
The guy's truly actually just a saint.
Yeah, it seems like he, for whatever reason, has the capital and the skills to build you a home and, invest in an island, but he definitely wants to keep you there with, good favors and just being a nice guy.
Mm-hmm. But, what's his angle? What's he want from you?
I think he wants to make the island a very good retreat. He wants to make a real good island.
And you're a part of that?
Yeah. Yes.
Sounds shady.
To be fair, though, if we, open up the lore of Animal Crossing, if you go and visit somebody else's island, there's another Tom Nook there. So the Tom Nook multiverse is sort of confusing about which one is really Tom Nook, or are they all the same Tom Nook?
The Nook Eye.
The hive mind of Nook. The Nook mind.
The Nook mind. The Nookminati.
If that's the case, it's sort of a more dark interpretation. That there's millions of people that he's got these loans to.
He's really just enslaved them in that case. If it's all just different Tom Nooks who are part of one overarching Tom Nook.
Yeah.
Then he's just enslaved the whole world.
Yeah. And he really struck while we were down being in quarantine and everything.
Animal Crossing is actually a post-apocalyptic game.
Yeah, I think really looking at it isn't probably the most fun. So welcome to Video Game Podtimism. It's the Optimus video game variety show where two best friends talk about the horrifying world of Tom Nook. I'm Chase, and I am Tom Nook's #1 fan.
I'm David, and I'm really starting to question Mr. Nook, and now I'm starting to question Mr. Chase Albee.
We are being recorded. Just want to put that out there before you go on with whatever you're about to say.
Excuse me?
Just saying. Putting a strong warning out there, real bright and early.
Oh, is something going to happen to me?
I wouldn't know anything about that.
So the Tom Nook fan club is actually the Tom Nook Gestapo, huh? The Tom Napo?
It's me, the Tom Napo. Put your hands in the air. I've come to arrest you for video game crimes.
Give me all your sea bass.
Oh, Mamma Mia. Here we are, episode 11, the sophomore slump.
Did you say lepisode?
Lepisode 11, here we are.
Cool. Yeah, we're here.
We got to episode 10, now we're in our sophomore slump. This episode's going to stink.
Yeah, we're really going to phone it in. We excelled and tried really hard the first year, and now we're just like, fuck that. I just want to hang out, drink some drink.
I want to cash in.
Cash in, smoke that devil's herb, maybe. It's sophomore year, time to experiment. You're more comfortable. Do your thing. Do your thing.
So with that's the end of the podcast. Those are the only jokes that we had.
That's it.
So that's the whole thing.
Quarantine's really getting to us.
Yeah, that's all. I stopped playing video games altogether. No more video games.
Yeah, video games are actually really bad for you now.
Just kidding. We got you. We got you.
That was a funny gag, wasn't it?
Gotcha. I'm still playing lots of video games. Plenty of video games.
Same here, sir.
Tell me about the ones you're at.
It's more like the ones I've gotten through this week. I beat a lot of games this week.
Oh, okay. That's a fun week. That doesn't come around all the time.
Yeah, I beat 2. So I beat Spiderman, PS4.
I didn't even know you were playing that.
I got through the DLC.
Okay.
I had all the DLC, and then I was just like, I went through the first episode of it, and I was like, yeah, that was pretty fun. And then I got sidetracked by other games. And then I went back and finished the last 2 parts of it.
Good. I didn't even touch the DLC. I didn't know there was any.
The DLC was good. It wasn't like amazing or anything. There was definitely parts of it that felt like a bit of a chore, which just most open world games just seem to not be able to get away from.
Happens.
Yeah, but those chores ended up getting some pretty cool suits. So the last one was definitely the best. The middle one was the worst, and the first one was in between the two.
These are the episodes in the DLC?
Yeah. Gotcha. So there's 3 different episodes that follow 3 fairly contained storylines, but all 3 are kind of have an overarching story as well.
Gotcha. Okay.
So
Maybe I'll do this. I didn't even know this existed.
Now it's pretty cool. So it's the City That Never Sleeps DLC, and it's usually it's on sale usually for $15, but I think normally it's 10 or 20. Yeah. Sorry, it's on sale for 15 when it's usually 10. That makes sense.
We're going to charge you more for less fun.
Exactly. So that was good. Enjoyed that. And then I beat the main story of Super Mario Odyssey as well.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
So I got through that, and then I was like, I got so many moons. I bet I'm almost done with getting all the moons. And then I looked online about how many moons there are, and I'm like, what in the fuck? There's 800 of those little bastards?
Many, many moons.
Oh my god, dude. I ain't gonna get all those moons.
Yeah, I remember having a similar thought at the end of it. I can't be that far, right? I feel like I really looked around most of the levels and got through most of it, and I got to be within 50 more moons.
That's what I was thinking. Same thing.
Not even close.
I collected 450 of them through the first game. I'm only a little bit over halfway.
Yeah.
Fuck me. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's a lot.
So
it's a very good game, though.
Yeah, I'll definitely play the couple extra bonus levels and kind of go through those and just get as many moons there as I just kind of find naturally.
Yep.
But we'll see if it still keeps me playing, because there's some other games that I'm wanting to get a little bit more into right now.
Yep.
What else am I playing? Still playing Ring Fit.
Yep. Saw you on that today.
Oh my god, that game kicks my ass sometimes. It really does. If you don't line up perfectly before you do a certain exercise, it'll just not register you doing it well, and then you'll do less damage, and then you just have to work out more.
Oh god.
Which is brutal, especially with some of the bosses, because some of the bosses
the true enemy of fitness is calibration. Truly.
I was trying to do some mountain climbers, and I went down, and I was just okay, it's collecting myself before I put my legs out straight behind me into kind of that plank stance. And then I was on my knees, and then I bent my knee a little bit more, and then it thought that I was in the position of ready to go, and then it just started going, and then it was it just would not read me as doing them when I did them, and really fucked me over.
The whole workout was ruined.
I mean, the workout was great still, but the game, the gameplay, I'd won still, but it just took longer, and I was more tired. Mm-hmm. So it was truly the greatest punishment for being a poor gamer at that point. Poor fitness gamer. So that was interesting. I haven't been playing anything else.
How's Dallery Town doing?
I haven't touched it this week.
This is so weird. The saga of you playing this game is so confusing, David. Well, how have you just not played it at all?
I've just kind of hit a little bit of a wall.
It seems like a bit of a wall. You were playing this game up until 3 a.m. last time I talked to you. And this week you're nah, completely done. No more cities to plan.
Are you fucking judging me?
I'm judging you. Your strange gamer habits.
Don't ick my yum, baby.
I'm not yucking your yum. It's a confusing series of events for me to understand right now.
Just ride with it, baby. It's all good.
I'm processing your actions still.
Just let me be, Jace.
Okay, so are those all the video games you played then?
Yeah, I think that's it for right now, unless I remember something.
Okay, sick. Let me tell you about these video games I got. Mm-hmm. By and large, the same ones as last week.
Perfect.
So we'll go over it one by one. Animal Crossing.
Good.
Em is now playing Animal Crossing, so we're both in our town.
You have to share an island, though, don't you?
Sure do. Yeah.
That's lame.
I mean, it's kind of lame, but I kind of enjoy it that we both are forced to work in the same space.
I've read some things that aren't positive about it, so give me the Podtimistic view of those opinions.
So by forcing you to play in the same place, I like that you don't have a choice in the matter. Like, it would be very easy to just start a new game and like, this is my island, this is your island, and that's what it's going to be. But by forcing you to be on the same one, it forces you to collaborate in a way that you probably wouldn't naturally.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to figure out where to put everything and like where to put people in your houses and stuff like that is interesting. I like being able to leave stuff at our front doorstep as like little presents. That's always my favorite.
Aren't you the cutest? My goodness.
I mean, you got to do something to get through quarantine, baby. Today I left her a pet bed for her pet turtle.
Wow. What a provider.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful story.
Yeah, I don't know. It just feels like a different form of connection through video games.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
On the other end of that, we sort of beat Man of Medan.
Sort of. You got one of the endings.
We got one of the endings, and it was namely pretty much everybody dying at the end of it.
Shit. You did something wrong.
Yes. No, very much. I suspect that we did not see most of the story at the end there.
That's always a bummer. I like those kind of games, but also kind of bothers me when it's like the first playthrough, I don't see most of what happens.
This game, for those who don't know about it, is sort of like a choose your own adventure game. Like, it's very much based on like sprawling branching paths.
It's like R.L. Stine made a video game.
Pretty much, yeah. If Goosebumps was a video game. There was also a game before it called Until Dawn that I think was quite a bit longer than this one. It took me a lot longer to play through Until Dawn than it did Man of Medan. I feel like we were done with this in maybe 3 to 5 hours. Like, it wasn't long at all, whereas Until Dawn was like probably 12 to 15. It was much longer.
Yeah.
I don't know if I liked this one all that much. Not to be unpodtimistic, but in Until Dawn, it was very obvious when you were about to perform an action that might put someone in danger to the point that it might kill them. Like, the point of the game is that all of these characters are kind of at risk at any given time. And so your choices really do matter. And so like the first time somebody dies, you're like, oh, fuck, like I probably could have prevented that. Mm-hmm. And Until Dawn, it was like, you either had a pretty active hand in the person dying, like they built up enough distrust to a couple characters that you weren't sure who to trust, or like you really fucked up a couple of like sequences and you got caught by the bad guy, and then like another sequence that you fucked up, like that sort of thing where it felt not fair that you were dying, but like this makes sense what just happened. Whereas Man of Medan, it felt like there were some mechanics that were playing out behind the scenes that I really wasn't aware of. And like suddenly characters would just be dead. And it's like, what the fuck happened there? Like,
gotcha. Didn't feel as fair.
The actions weren't like correlated 1-to-1 with what was happening. Like the consequences weren't lined up in the right way.
That's a bummer.
Sometimes they were. There was like a couple times where I was like, yeah, okay, we fucked that up and that person died. But other times it was like, I was just like trying to talk to this person and then they shot this other person. I have no idea why. I don't know. I'm kind of trying to trudge back through it a little bit, but I've kind of lost interest after we were finished with it, but still a fun experience playing it.
Gotcha. Okay, cool.
Still playing Final Fantasy VII. It's still fantastic.
How many hours is that?
I've heard a lot of things. Let's see. So I think I'm at chapter 10. There are 18 chapters, and I think I'm like 15 hours in.
Well, okay.
GameSpot says that it takes about 40 hours to finish.
40 hours. Wow.
I was hearing a lot longer.
Damn. Okay. And it's not even the whole game. Is it like a third of it? Is it a fourth of it?
If you were comparing it against the actual Final Fantasy VII, I think this is not even close to like very much of it at all. Like,
Really?
It all takes place in Midgar, and in Final Fantasy VII, Midgar's like probably 4 hours of the whole game, and then the whole game is probably 60 to 70 hours long.
Damn.
Depending on how much you do. There's plenty of stuff in there that could take you a lot longer. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it encompasses a very small fraction of what would be the normal game. Again, that said, I've heard things that it's sort of confusing about where this will land in the end of it, but we'll see. I'll update once I beat this thing.
Are things different yet for you? Has any parts of the story, like the main story, changed?
There are things that are expanded, like I said last week, but nothing that's like drastically different. There's like one big thing that's different right now, which is like these ghosts that are all around the place.
Yeah.
but the main thrust of the story seems to be pretty similar. But I think because I'm kind of in the middle of it, I can't quite see what they're doing with it yet. But it's interesting so far.
Okay, and I have one other question. About this game. I was on YouTube the other day.
Yep.
And I saw a video.
Yep.
I don't know if you got into this part yet, but anything about honeybees or like a burlesque show?
Yep.
Ring a bell?
Yep.
What's going on there? What's up with that?
In the so I'm like just before that part. I think I know the context of it.
Is that in the original game? Any of that?
So essentially in the first game, the Honeybee Inn is like a brothel, and Tifa gets like kidnapped sort of, and she's gonna go like be put to work, quote unquote, in the brothel.
Sure.
And your job in the original is to go and like break her out. And so Aerith and Cloud, he presents as a woman to get into the Honeybee Inn. And it's like pretty bizarre in the first one. I don't want to make an excuse for it being 1997 or whatever, but like it's pretty like homophobic and like kind of transphobic in a certain way too.
Sure.
And in the new one, I don't want to spoil too much, but they like taken quite a turn on the purpose of all of that. And it's a lot better. I'll just put it that way.
Cool.
Yeah. So yeah, still enjoying it. Final Fantasy VII, still very good.
All right.
Haven't touched Persona at all.
Oh wow.
It's just I can't juggle Final Fantasy VII and Persona. It's just too much.
Those are two thick, meaty games.
Dense video games.
Yeah.
And I dipped my toes back into Mario Odyssey just because you were talking about it so much. I had to get back in there.
I saw you playing it the other day.
Yep.
It's so good.
It's very good. It's the whole thing controls well. It's so much fun. I just got through New Donk City. That thing it's just a delight.
New Donk City. Oh my gosh. Just the name is in
incredible.
And of itself incredible. And then just everything about it. Like the moon level, that dragon out of nowhere. I was like, what?
The Dark Souls level? What the fuck is that?
When did that? Why? Why did this happen? But apparently Mario can fucking 1v1 a dragon and win, which makes me respect Mario quite a bit more.
Just got a dodge roll.
Not gonna lie. So that was, that game took a lot of turns that I did not think it was going to take, but definitely all appreciated in good, different things for a Mario game, I think.
Yeah. The first time I played it, and again this time, I was fully expecting the gimmick of being able to control other enemies as being boring eventually, but every new level they bring some new thing that I'm like, oh, that's really cool that I get to do this now.
Each new one felt good.
Significant, and like this control is very different than the last one. Even the fucking like, what is that thing in New Donk City? There's like a little thing that you latch onto on the side of buildings that you flick yourself up.
The little flick thing, yeah.
It feels so good.
And
How
then
did they make every one of those things feel amazing?
It's impressive, and I also like that they introduced that mechanic there, and then at Bowser's Castle you can become those birds that you then can do that on certain walls. Just flick yourself up. I was like, damn, that's some good game design right there.
The same sort of variety of magic that made the first-party Sony games look incredible, Nintendo sprinkles that same magic on the design of any of their first-party games.
It's really impressive, truly.
Yeah. And the last game I've been playing is the old World of Warcraft.
That's out of left field. What are you talking about?
Back at it, baby.
Why?
I have been playing WoW on and off for the better part of like 10 years at this point. I jumped in like right after Burning Crusade came out, which was the second expansion. Mm-hmm. And what is the one that they're coming out with? Like the 8th pretty soon?
It's amazing how consistently they have churned out those expansions. Like every 2 years pretty much there's a new one.
Yeah, I was thinking about this as I was playing because I was in a zone that I played with one of my old friends like right when the game came out, when we were like 13, like a long time ago, or 15, or however old we were. Uh-huh. It's wild how long this game has been out. Yeah, I've been playing WoW for the better part of about 10 years, on and off. I'm certainly not one of the people who just like grind the end game super hard. Mm-hmm. I'll usually level a character up to the like level cap and then maybe play a little bit of end game content, but I'm never huge onto it. But usually my enjoyment of WoW is like playing through the dungeons that get you higher levels and just like leveling a character. That's usually where I enjoy the game the most.
You don't care about the story so much.
Oh God, no. The story's really rough. It's just so wild, and like I kind of was interested in it, like when Wrath King, whatever
Lich
it is,
King?
Wrath of the Lich King. when that one came out, and then Cataclysm as well, because it was like sort of changing the whole landscape. But it certainly seems as like an outsider that the lore has kind of just gotten like obscene and too big for their game. So I don't care about it too much. And the thing that pulled me back in was that they're running this like promotion, I guess, that currently all characters are getting like 100% experience points, like bonus. So you're essentially leveling like double fast of what you normally would.
Damn.
Or double the speed, I guess. Which is appealing to me because that's the part of the game I like a lot. So I just hopped back on and started playing Warrior, and I've just been grinding out levels.
Solid.
Yep. It's fun. I like the game. I think I'm a pretty casual WoW player, all things considered. Like, I've put quite a few hours into it, and did put quite a few hours into it into high school especially, but like right now I'm sort of just playing it for fun. It's a fun game in moderation. Like, I don't think I've ever fallen down the rabbit hole quite as much as I've seen other people do it, where like that's the only thing they can do.
Yeah.
I've definitely had times where like that's all I wanted to do, but there were other things that I had to do.
Sure. You were able to contain it a little bit better.
I think so. A little less than like the Dota obsession.
You were deep into Dota.
That one fucked me up real bad. What's your Podtimistic thing of the week, David?
My Podtimistic thing of the week is passion for video games.
In general.
Passion in general, but passion generated by video games.
Mm-hmm.
Because before the podcast started, my good friend Chase Albee read me excerpts of a text message from another one of our friends who was commenting about our best Nintendo games podcast last week, our bracket we did.
Yeah.
And I loved hearing all of the passion in those words. And it just made me realize just how much emotion and love that these games can generate. It just made me happy. Made me happy.
It's true. I love video games, and I love when people love video games.
Yeah, because it makes them get really introspective about them, into the why, and not just the gut feeling when he had that passion. Shouts out to our friend. You know who you are.
Video games definitely generate a certain amount of passion, sometimes for good, sometimes for bad. And here at Video Game Podtimism, we are channeling the good.
Sure
the
are.
The good passion. Good vibes only, bro. I don't want you coming in here with that. I don't like World of Warcraft because it's for nerds. You sit down.
Think about why you don't like it. It's not just because it's for nerds. What really do you not like about it? Then I will listen to you.
I think my Video Game Podtimistic thing is how fucking long video games can go on.
How do you mean?
I mean, specifically WoW. WoW has been out for so long, and it's like the same game. I know a lot has changed, and people who play WoW a lot would say it's not the same game, but I'm still hitting shit and casting spells. Like,
it's the same doo-doo graphics, too.
In some parts, it's definitely the same doo-doo graphics. The newer zones look great. The Baron still looks like ass. It's still there.
Beautiful.
What other games have been out for a long time like that? I guess like League and Dota have both been out for a pretty significant amount of time now.
I mean, I guess it's hard to compare like one single game with a bunch of expansions, right? Because you could argue that Medan is just the same game with a bunch of expansions. Just every year they add a couple things, and they add the new rosters with the updated grades for all the players.
Yeah.
So like all sports games, I feel are just one game. Really?
Yeah, that's fair.
Different, a little bit different every year. But like one game. I mean, Melee, it's been around forever.
Yeah, Smash in general.
That's almost going to be 3 console cycles coming up.
Jesus.
Right?
Jesus.
Because that was GameCube.
I think we have to put forth the idea that if we're appreciating games that have been around forever and being made forever, that we got to appreciate Bomberman, David. It's been around for so long. Mechanics unchanged by time.
So my question now is Bomberman just a front for the mob?
I think it is a complex money laundering scheme.
Because who's the last person who's like, damn, bro, that last Bomberman game was sick.
That was a good Bomberman. 15.
I hit that up. One. I put like 40 hours into that bish. It was great. And I'm going to do it the next one that comes out next year. No one's ever said that in my whole fucking life. Who is putting their dirty money into Bomberman and making it clean? That's my question.
I think it's the mob. I think the mob is buying 100,000 copies of Bomberman each year.
Same thing as fucking Wiener Schnitzel. Who do you know who has ever eaten regularly at a Wiener Schnitzel?
I will tell you. Jan Woodman.
Jan?
He looks betrayed.
My God.
Oh, Jan.
That's the only one you know, right?
That's the only person I know who eats at Wiener Schnitzel.
You know a lot of people. I've seen how many friends you have on Facebook. I've seen how many followers you have on Instagram.
It's a pretty meager amount compared to a lot of people.
I mean, sure, compared to influencers, we're not there yet, Chase. But
okay, eventually.
Just saying, where's that cash flow come from? How do they have so many restaurants across the U.S.?
It's actually one and the same. The people who are buying Bomberman are also going to Wiener Schnitzel afterwards.
Bomber Schnitzel?
Bomber Schnitzel! I'm going to put a bomb in their wieners. They'll never find out what happened.
I always forget you have a pretty decent German accent.
I don't know where it came from. Should we move on to our main thing?
Probably.
Half an hour in.
Wait, let me think about it. Okay, yeah, we should.
Okay, great. Let's do it. So, after a well-earned vacation, the segment Good Games has returned.
Had a good 2 weeks off.
Yeah, a little while. We had to talk about Cooking Mama and we had to do some bracket things. But it has returned from its vacation overseas, which is really ill-advised at this point, Good Games.
I was about to say, it wasn't following quarantine, that's for sure.
No, I will be needing to check its temperature sporadically throughout this segment. However,
it's self-quarantining for 14 days.
That's true. It came back 2 weeks ago. It's just been hanging out for a little while.
It was actually just a 3-day round trip to somewhere in Europe.
Good Games, of course, being the segment where we talk about the games of yesteryear and gush about all the things we love about them. And then maybe provide, a little bit of feedback. A little critical thanking.
Loving feedback.
And with all of this talk of Persona and JRPGs and the video game company Atlas Co., thought we'd kick it a little bit older school.
And did Atlas make Persona?
They did, yep.
Really?
Yep.
That kind of makes sense. Anyways, continue.
We're going to be talking about the video game Trauma Center.
Under the Knife, and also, what's the one that you played? Sorry.
Second Opinion.
Second Opinion.
The one that I played. Pretty similar games. One is kind of a remake of the other. I think some of the directors had called it like a perfect version or something like that. The one on the Wii. But before we get too far into that, just some quick stats about what the fuck this video game is. So Trauma Center, Under the Knife, and also the one we'll mainly be talking about, Second Opinion. They are a simulation game. Medical simulation, I guess.
Arcade medical simulator.
Yeah, it's not meant to be an actual training.
It's not a simulator. Yeah.
No. It's what Wikipedia lists as the game's genre, but it's not quite accurate.
It's not like Microsoft Aviation Simulator.
No, it's not.
That's for damn sure.
It also listed as a visual novel, which I agree a little bit more with. There's kind of a lot of dialogue in this game.
I can see that. There is a lot of dialogue. It's true.
The game came out stateside in November 19th of 2006, the same day that the Wii came out. So it was a launch title for the Wii.
Really?
Yeah.
The DS one came out, what, like 3 or so years before that?
That one came out, June 30th of 2005. So
it's just a year.
Yeah, less than 12 months between these games. Wow. No, a little bit more than 12 months between these games being put out.
Okay.
This was a launch game, and I think it was a good idea to do that because the mechanics of the game are mostly surgery, dramatic surgery, not just like I'm going to reset your bone. It's you have like an assortment of tools at your disposal, and all of them make use of the Wii's motion controls to great effect. Like if you have your scalpel, then you have to hold A and do a very thin line to open somebody up, and then you're stitching, you have to like do A and B at the same time and cross and stitch and all this sort of stuff. So it presented itself as sort of this new world of the Wii motion controls back in the day. And that was specifically at a time when it was unknown exactly what the effect or how well the Wii was going to do. Like, all this hype was built around, like, the Wii's motion controls, and I think a lot of people still didn't really understand what exactly it could do. And so when, like, Wii Sports came out and then this came out, it was sort of an experiment to see, like, is this fun? Are we going to enjoy this?
Yeah. People were still had a lot of questions.
Yeah, because it's hard to know until you really get your hands on it. That's, like we said, it was a remake of the Trauma Center that was on the DS, which had come out just a year prior. Daisuke Kanata, the game's director, I found this fascinating. He had essentially peeled off certain portions of that team that made the original Trauma Center to make this one, and he had described them as Atlus's most enthusiastic gamers, which I love the description, that he's got like an A-team, a crack team making the game again.
That could be a show. That could be like a YouTube show.
Yeah, like the best gamers in all of this game company make this the same game again.
We got to make a game this week, boys. We only got 2 weeks to finish it. We got to pull it through.
Tom Hewlett said in a 2006 interview on the topic of the operations in the video game that, quote, the operation segments were made cooler in appearance for this version, which I quite enjoyed.
How do they make it cooler? What did they do?
If I know. That was a quote from him. I don't know how they made him cooler.
Because I didn't play the one on the Wii. I played only the one on the DS. I played the OG.
And I only played the one on the Wii.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've seen clips from both. They seem to be pretty similar.
I mean, maybe they added like more special effects or something, but I don't think it would be too different. Just a year apart.
Some other little quick facts. Mostly plays out kind of like a medical drama on this one. Like, I think it's supposed to be kind of ridiculous and abstract and more like an action movie than actual medical comings and goings.
It's a medical action movie. That's a good way of putting it. Because you're essentially like fighting against this virus. Like this unknown virus.
Is the name of the virus.
Oh my God, yeah. It was like black, right? It was like a black kind of amorphous thing that was just in people's bodies. I was like, oh my God.
It takes the first one, the one that came out on DS, and I guess this one as well. It takes place in Angeles Bay, California.
Does it really?
Yeah, that's what it said. In 2018. I thought that was interesting.
Oh.
The far-flung future.
Spooky.
Yep. The main character, Derick Stiles, is the lead protagonist in this one, which, by the way, is the second game that we've talked about that has the lead character named Derick.
Derick. Do you think his last name is Stiles because of stylus for the DS?
That's what I would have assumed, but also because it sounds fucking cool. Because he's
Derick
a stylish man.
He was kind of a hip, stylish man, wasn't he?
He was definitely one of the like anime characters that would put his like finger on the bridge of his nose and like put his hand out in front of him while he was doing surgery.
And he would like fix his glasses and there would be a tint over them so you couldn't see his eyes.
Over the front of them. With like the squing.
So you know he's got big brain energy.
Oh yeah, no, he's about to do this surgery.
All right, I get it.
Just a little background on Atlas Co. before we kind of dive into what we liked about it. I didn't know this, but there's some sort of weird ownership things that happened with Atlas Co.
Really?
They're a fairly older company. I think they were founded in like the 70s or 80s or something.
Whoa.
But the iteration of it that made Trauma Center, I think was born around like 2002 or something. I think it may have been self-owned. I'm not exactly sure. Okay. But essentially, this iteration of Atlas made Trauma Center, and then most notably, tons of the Shin Megami Tensei games.
Yeah.
They put out 23 Shin Megami Tensei games over the course of 9 years.
23?
Yeah, it's fucked up.
That's amazing. That's so many over 9 years. A lot of those must have been just Japanese releases, right? I don't think all those made it stateside.
No, I don't think so. I think a lot of those were strictly Japanese releases. Yeah, you're right.
That's crazy. My goodness.
Yeah, so they were pushing hard on the Shin Megami Tensei. However, there was like some sort of ownership thing that happened, and I think they got bought or dissolved or something happened. But Sega ended up owning the company that made all these games. And so a different Atlas Co. is now in existence. But that's the one that made Persona 5.
Interesting. Okay.
And those guys, I assume there's probably a lot of crossover with the people that worked there from the first one. Because if you're just a dev who's like working there making games, like I don't really care who owns me. But yeah, they'd put out a bunch. A lot of the Persona games. Catherine, they put out all those games. So yeah, that is the background on Atlas. Now, Trauma Center. What'd you like about this game? Why are we talking about it?
Once again, it benefits from being very unique.
I totally agree. That's pretty much my reason too.
No other game like Trauma Center. At least for me, when I was playing it, I thought it was a really great way to interact with the stylus, right? So it's like all those things you'd be doing in a surgery room. That's the same grasp pattern that you're doing on a stylus. Like they're small, thin instruments. So I just have really fond memories of playing that on car rides and getting really upset when we hit a bump in the road and I just like fuck up my patient really bad and just like shove a glass shard back into his heart that I just removed.
I did that really on purpose.
Brutal. Yeah, it was as part of the process. Everybody, okay. So yeah, the controls I remember were good too.
Yeah,
like you couldn't have a decent game with that being the main gameplay mechanic and not have a good kind of like feeling 1-to-1 of input to response in the game. And I liked all the different layers that you could go through to get in there. Like you start off with the skin and you get like in the muscle and then you get into like the bones and the shit and the organs, right? So that was cool.
I agree. It played out pretty similar on the Wii. That I liked playing it because it was a jump forward both in software and hardware. Like I wasn't used to what the Wii was able to do yet, nor was I used to what this game was doing yet, or like as far as originality goes. So it was sort of a 1-2 punch of like just a lot of things that I hadn't seen before.
Sure.
There had been like light gun games and shit that had come out in, you know, the years prior to the Wii, like Time Crisis and like Duck Hunt and shit like that. But nothing with like quite as much fidelity over your controls as the Wii had. And so it was an interesting experiment in how to make a game like that fun. Because it's like that's got to be a hard thing to do, imagining when you're like on the precipice of a new kind of video game or a new way to control video games, much like how we're been kind of like floundering with that with VR for a couple years now. How do we make this game fun without really knowing the context of how to make this game fun? You know, like we sort of know how to make a game fun where you run and jump and hit dudes, right? Like on a 2D scale. That's pretty well tread territory at this point. But how do you make a game about surgery and with motion controls fun? That's hard to do. Like pre-2006.
How do you make ER the game fun? How do you make Grey's Anatomy the game fun?
Yeah, hard to do.
But they did it well, right? And every different procedure was a little bit different. You had to do different stitches or like pull different things out, or like inject things if it was more of like a disease as opposed to a trauma. And then like getting out too was also like its own little puzzle as well that you just had to follow. It's just good.
Yeah, I agree. The game itself presented a lot of different stuff that was pretty fun and interesting to go through. Yeah, I think the greatest asset this game has is originality. I get it if like hospital dramas aren't really your thing, and to be fair, they kind of aren't for me. I generally don't like. Same. I haven't really watched House. Em watches a lot of Grey's Anatomy. I don't really partake. I didn't watch ER back in the day, and so like this genre of media doesn't always appeal to me. But for whatever reason, this one kind of got me. I think Atlas. I don't know if they have been employing the same people for this long, but it is the same feeling I get when I play Persona 5. That like they kind of integrate you into this world pretty well. That it feels for whatever reason interesting enough and like lived in that I'm like, oh, this is cool. I like being at this hospital. This is a cool spot to be in.
It's like the style that they have.
Yeah, it's hard to tell exactly what it is, but something about their writing or the way they present it, something in there. There's some special sauce that it's common throughout their games that they make.
Gotcha.
I think at the time the game was pretty well received. It wasn't A+ or anything. I kind of remember it being C+, B- territory. And I think most of the criticisms at the time were like the difficulty spikes were kind of intense.
That's what I remember from the DS version too, is that the difficulty would just get like off the charts sometimes. And I'll be like, oh God, it would just get tedious. It would get really tedious.
It's sort of interesting, like hearing that criticism this many years out and this many years after all the Dark Souls games have come out. Like, I wonder if that level of difficulty would be received quite as poorly at this point.
I think it's totally different, though.
Like, the way that it's structured, the difficulty?
Yeah, because with Dark Souls, it just expects so much of you from the beginning, right? That it's like, you have to get up to this level.
Yeah.
Whereas with Trauma Center and some other games where it's like you have those difficulty spikes, it kind of does its thing, and then all of a sudden it just like kicks your ass for no reason, and it just feels like it's kind of betraying you in a way. It's like,
yeah, it's true. The trust isn't quite kept.
Yeah, it's like, how am I supposed to like do this part if you haven't taught me how to do this part in like smaller increments up until it?
Yeah.
So I think that's what I remember with it, at least. Where I was like, okay, you have to like, you're in this ambulance and you have to fucking save 5 people in a row within like 10 minutes. And if you don't, then you can't go past. Mm-hmm. It's just like, that was the first time there was any sort of like really intense time constraint in the game. Yeah. And it was like a bunch of new mechanics that they threw at you at the same time. And it's just like, oh my God, dude, like, fuck, this is so much.
That's true. I think you're probably right there, because that is how a lot of the outlets described it, where the difficulties were spikes rather than slopes.
Exactly. A slope doesn't feel fair. Or a spike doesn't feel fair. A slope feels fair.
Yeah.
Right.
I'd be interested to see, though, like if they were able to even out that curve a little bit now, like say they put out a remake, a third remake of this video game. Mm-hmm. If they were evening it out and like say you beat the game and there's like 10 bonus levels or something like that, like bonus surgeries, if people would be into that, if they could somehow make the difficulty that hard, but like lead up to it a little bit better. So I guess if we're going to talk about things that the game could improve on, that would be a pretty interesting experiment. Make the game fair in its difficulty, but consistent, I guess.
Yeah, make the difficulty more consistent. I'm not saying make it easier. You can make it just baseline a little bit more difficult from the outset, and just get people used to that like time constraint and that expectation, and then get to the same spot. But don't make it like easy, and then just all of a sudden like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
So hard. Yeah.
Throwing the kitchen sink at you.
Exactly.
The kitchen scalpel.
The kitchen scalpel. My God.
Yeah, I think because this isn't a very like well-trodden territory, even still, like there aren't a lot of games like this. I feel like there's a lot you could experiment with still to improve on this formula. I think difficulty is one of them. I think making, like, because Atlas has such a cool history with all these Persona games, like I would really love it if they did something like that. It would be such a cool idea if they made a Trauma Center game with the same mechanics, right? Like the same core mechanics of doing these like surgeries, but do it in a Persona way where your character exists outside of just the trauma, like, or the actual operating room. You can go and walk around and like exist as this doctor. I feel like people would eat that up.
That'd be fun. And you could be like on a plane flight, and then someone have a heart attack, and then someone yells out, "Is there a doctor here?" And you're like, "I'm here, motherfuckers." And you get to live that fantasy.
And some cool jazz music would play in the background. That sounded a lot like the Persona soundtrack.
I think I was channeling it a little bit.
Yeah.
That's fine. They could do a lot. Like, if you had to make a sequel for this game, what would it be? And what would you make sure was like different or refined about it?
So yeah, I think I would immediately add the parts of Persona that are really fun. The day-night cycle, like every day having sort of a definitive start and end, and certain things you can do within that time frame to make it feel more lived in and fun. I think Atlas clearly can do that really well. And so it could be fun to do it in that way. I don't know if people are so tied to Persona because it's in high school. Like they've only done that before, but I'd be interested to see if they could do that with a doctor. Like
med school?
Yeah, right? Like there's a lot of interesting twists you could do on that.
Resident life?
Right.
Doctor intern? Yeah.
But just, sexy it up a little bit.
Sexy it up a little bit. What about
Make the game horny.
Okay, so you want like Honeybee Trauma Center?
Well, like Personas always take place in high school, so like love interests are very high school love interests, but like say you're in med school?
So you want to mix Trauma Center with a dating sim. That's what you're telling me.
That's what most video games are these days, right?
Are they? Or are those just the games you play, Chase?
BioWare put out 6 very under-the-radar dating sims. Hey, no, guys, we're just shooting aliens.
Mass Effect 1 through 3, and then the Dragon Quest games.
And then the Dragon Age ones.
Dragon
We're
Age,
just fighting
Dragon Age,
dragons, you guys chill out. But also, You can fuck.
Anybody.
You can fuck. Do that in a hospital. People love that. People love that shit.
That's true. That's what Grey's Anatomy is.
Yeah.
People eat it up.
That's what ER is. Make
You
the
might
game
be
horny.
onto something. You might be
Make
onto
Trauma
something.
Center 2 horny.
Also, put it in space. How about that?
Why not, bro?
Zero gravity
not?
surgeries.
That's a mechanic.
Or it could be at least like the secret bonus level at the end of the game. Yeah.
We need you to operate on this astronaut. Also, they're super hot.
Yeah. Here's your personal spaceship into space. Provided
It's
by
shaped
Elon
like a
Musk.
scalpel.
It's shaped like a scalpel. You have to go do space surgery with your spaceship on the other spaceship. Your space
Fuck
scalpel.
yeah.
That'd be tight, actually.
Yeah. So like in Persona, the actual game mechanics are very like turn-based combat-y, and so I don't know if you could do it quite one-to-one there, because you still want to do the operating, but you could do it like Fire Emblem, where there's like one operation a month or something like that, one big one, right? Mm-hmm. And so the core game mechanic doesn't always come around all that often, but when it does, it's like a big deal. And in between there, of course, you can have like little mock simulations where you're doing like trial runs or something like that to get you acquainted with any of the mechanics that they're about to toss your way, or like practice to get some more points.
Sure.
I want to play this fucking video game, man.
That'd be fun.
I'm ready to play this one.
And why stop at people? You could be a half MD, half vet as well. You could be a secret government scientist and be operating on aliens.
Now we're talking DLC, baby. Now we're talking DLC.
It'll be our own version of the Mama universe, the Doctor universe.
The Trauma universe.
Trauma universe.
Maybe need a different name for that one.
Yeah, and that's not a hot name. That's not a hot doc.
You have anything else to say about Trauma Center?
No, I'm good.
Perfect. Then let's move on to our next thing. We had done a segment a few weeks ago where we talked about the Smash 64 roster and a few extras, what their favorite band is, and also who they voted for in the primary. But that was a very different world ago.
Sure was.
It was a different time. So now we're going to follow up with the additions to Smash Melee's roster, which turns out to be 14 characters, and what their favorite band is, and also what they're doing in quarantine, because everybody's stuck at home, and we want to know check in with our faves. What are they doing?
What are they doing? What are they doing at home? What's their daily routine look like right now?
What they doing out there?
All right, well, I'm ready.
Okay, so we'll start at the top. Bowser.
Can't believe he wasn't in the first one.
It is a little shocking that they didn't include him in 64. That was a little bit surprising.
Should we do his band or his quarantine hobby first?
Let's do his band first.
His band, okay.
He's got to be listening to like not thrash metal, but like 80s metal.
I could see that.
Or maybe 90s metal, like Pantera or something.
I could see him also just being like a hopeless romantic and listening to like very sappy songs, because all he's ever trying to do is just like, in his mind, marry this woman.
Yeah.
Right? He's a stereotypical nice guy stuck in a turtle's body.
He's the incel of the Mario world.
He kind of is. You know? So what do incels listen to?
Hopelessly romantic songs. That makes sense to me.
I mean, I could see him outwardly projecting thrash metal, right?
He doesn't enjoy it. He doesn't like that music.
Yeah, he just puts that on when the Goombas come by
To look tough.
So he still like has the respect.
Sure.
But really in the background, he's like listening to the soundtrack from Once. Yeah, he's love songs. He listens to popular pop love songs.
Okay,
That's Bowser.
sure. So I assume he's just posting on 4chan most of quarantine, right?
Oh, he probably he's probably like head moderator at 4chan or something.
He's deep
He's deep
4chan
in.
right now.
Yeah. During quarantine, though, what's his hobby? Arts and crafts of some sort.
Okay. He's making Gundam wings.
Making Gundam wings. Cosplaying.
He's cosplaying as Bowsette. What do I look like with yiddies?
Yeah, no, that's definitely his quarantine hobby. He's cosplaying. He's working on his
Sick.
Bowsette cosplay.
Perfect.
to impress Peach on Instagram.
The Ice Climbers. They're quarantined together.
They are quarantined together. Are they both going to listen to the same thing?
I would assume no. I would assume that they have drastically different music tastes.
Inuit music?
Popo does.
Popo listens to traditional Inuit music. Okay.
Yes. Mama? Is that the name of
Nana.
the
Nana.
She listens to thrash metal. She's the thrash metalist.
I could see it.
She's not from the same place that Popo is.
She's from the city.
Yeah. She's a city ice climber. She's a city climber.
She moved out there for him. Start a nice ice climber family.
What are they doing in quarantine? Well, I don't want to get too grim or gruesome, baby.
Why is it grim and gruesome for you?
What else you gonna be doing in quarantine?
Why are you putting these negative adjectives on something that's beautiful, Chase? What's wrong with you?
It's for our younger listeners. I don't want to be explicit. Call me an iceberg and climb on up. Let's get to it.
You don't want to be explicit, and then you say that kind of filth.
Wiener.
You're just a bag of lies, Chase Albee.
Princess Peach. What's she doing?
Peach. Oh, we're doing her music first, right?
Let's do her music first.
She doesn't listen to music. She only listens to informational podcasts.
Ooh, damn. Deep cut. Fuck yeah. That makes sense.
She's the ruler of a kingdom, and she's got to stay up to date about economics, about politics, about interpersonal relationships, everything. So she's just going hard on NPR. You know, my kind of woman.
Just God. NPR.
It's just NPR.
That's really it.
NPR's all that. Or any other informational podcasts.
Yeah.
NTR.
National Mushroom Kingdom Radio.
NMKR.
Welcome back to NMKR with your host, Toad.
Why does Toad sound like a stoner?
He's a disc jockey, radio DJ.
Toad.
Welcome back to KMPR with your host, Toad.
Just sounds like the worst kind of human from the 80s.
Correct. That is it. Okay, so she listens to informational podcasts. She's very up to date. Not a lot of time for music. She's got shit to do.
Yeah, she's got shit to do.
However, in quarantine, she's still running the fucking country.
Yeah, she's an essential worker. She's still working full time.
She's got to get fucking PPE for her goddamn nurses.
She has no time for hobbies or anything like that. She's bearing the cross of rulership, of leadership, so that the rest of us can dick around on the internet.
She's on the phone with Cuomo and Newsom daily, just trying to get enough fucking masks and tests. So hats off to you, Peach. Thank you for your hard work. What is Princess Zelda or Sheik doing?
Ooh.
Or what is their favorite band, I should say?
What's their favorite
Let's start
band?
with that. I think she only listens to the soundtracks of movies.
Explain yourself.
She's just got a thing for like woodwind instruments.
So she
show up in musical soundtracks quite a bit.
So she's into like John Williams music.
Big into John Williams.
Hans Zimmer.
Big fan of Hans.
Okay.
She dips her toes in with Trent Reznor's work every now and then.
All right.
But she's very much more into the woodwind instruments.
So she's really about that woodwind is really what she likes.
That's correct. Because, of course, Ocarina. Yeah.
So that's when she's Princess Zelda. Is she listening to something different when she's Sheik?
That's a very good question. Gerudo folk music.
Gerudo folk music. Boo-doo-da-beam, boo-doo-da-beam, boo-doo-da-beam,
Yeah, no,
boo-doo-da-beam.
It's just the Gerudo Valley soundtrack over and over and over again.
That'll be maddening, I think. I
mean, that song is a slapper, man. I don't know how you can get tired of it.
It is a slapper. Did I ever tell you about the time that I played the Game of Thrones board game in undergrad, and we listened to the Game of Thrones theme song, opening intro, for the whole time, just on repeat?
Oh, God, I didn't know that.
6 hours.
Oh, my God. That song isn't that long.
No, I didn't even notice that was the only thing we listened to. It just felt right. It was a beautiful experience.
Oh, Christ. So I guess this makes sense.
Yeah. No, I think
that she'd only listen to the...
Yeah. My point being that when you're in that mood and that's your vibe, you just got to ride it.
Got to ride that vibe. Got to be a sneaky little
Riding that vibe, baby.
What is she doing in quarantine?
What is she doing in quarantine? Well, Princess Zelda's running the fucking country. as well.
She is a princess.
She is the princess. Her dad is always dead. So
always.
It's her. Sheik is probably like researching some ninja shit, I would think. Or like
doing sick ninja stunts in the backyard.
Yeah, like getting big like on parkour and posting vids to like YouTube or whatever their equivalent is in the Hyrule Kingdom. What's the slab thing they call it? What's there in Breath of the Wild? They have that little Sheikah slate.
Sheikah slate, yeah. Slate tube, Sheikah tube, Gerudo tube.
Gerudo. That sounds dirty for some reason.
Let me see your Gerudo tube,
oh my God.
my friend.
That doesn't feel good. That does not feel good.
I don't really want to ask what Dr. Mario is doing right now.
He's saving lives, baby.
Dr. Mario is saving
lives. He's doing his job, protecting us all. Thank you, Dr. Mario.
As we've established in previous episodes, he's listening to Mario Bocelli because it's the same man.
That's what he has on in the surgery, for sure. In the surgery room, Mario Bocelli.
Falco Lombardi of Star Fox.
What does he listen to? I get like a grunge vibe from him, like Pearl Jam.
It's like Stone Temple Pilots sort of stuff.
Stone Temple Pilots, like that Pacific Northwest, like grunge of like the 90s. For some reason, that's what comes to mind.
I never realized Falco smelled bad, but you just really opened my eyes to the fact that he does.
I mean, what do you think? What do you think?
That makes sense. No, you got it in one. I get that.
You feel it? You feel that vibe?
Damn. His R-Wing has got to smell real bad, real stinky up in there.
I could just see him just flying around and just, ooh, I'm still alive.
Took me a second to figure out where you're going from.
You don't have to put that in the podcast, my singing right there.
I'm going to do it, and I'm going to overlay it with the song.
Oh my God. It's going to be so off.
I'll slow you down to at least be on time.
Oh, thank you.
Falco Lombardi is still flying around the galaxy. He is disobeying his shelter-in-place order, but he is only in the R-Wing, so he really isn't doing too much damage, but he is flying around.
Falco is definitely at one of those quarantine protests in his R-Wing, just honking his horn going down Main Street. Fuck this!
The Lilat system can't keep me down, bro.
My feathers need a trim, motherfuck.
Our good friend, Marth.
Isn't he a king?
Maybe.
They call him the Hero King.
Let's just
too much
not give
royalty
a shit about his backstory. I'm fine with not caring about his real story.
Yeah, we'll do something real for him. But band for Marth.
What's the most self-serious music you can think of?
Oh shit! Like music that just cannot laugh at itself whatsoever.
Yeah.
Really serious jazz.
I was gonna say jazz. I think there's a sect of jazz that is very serious and takes itself very seriously.
And just like...
that I think Marth listens to.
I could see that.
What is he doing during quarantine?
Learning how to play the saxophone.
Fuck yes. Stuck the landing. He's still really bad at it.
He's awful.
If you were to go listen to him right now, he's not good at saxophone yet.
His embouchure is crap. He's got no support from his diaphragm. He's barely hitting his G. A low D is a distant thought. And, just that octave key, he can't hit it because his embouchure is too weak. He's a little baby saxophonist.
Shouts out saxophone players.
What's up? Where y'all at?
You all just got that. I didn't.
You could have known, Chase.
No, I will play no saxophone. Mewtwo, the Pokemon.
Oh, shit. Favorite band?
Favorite kind of music, anything?
I feel like emo.
I was going to say the Pokemon movie OST.
See that.
I like the idea that Mewtwo is an actor rather than a Pokemon.
He
listens to the soundtrack of the movie that he was in.
He's an actor.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's not
actually a genetic abomination created by man.
No, he's just a person. Yeah, it's just Mewtwo.
He's like,
his name's Derick.
Like Sir Ian McKellen. He's Mewtwo.
Yeah, it's just a guy.
I don't know this character though. Who is this man?
Of course not. He's not on social media. He holds a very private life.
Okay, so he listens to nature sounds, and his quarantine activity has been meditating.
Yeah, Mr. Derick 2.
Derick 2.
Yeah, like his First name Derick, last name 2, spelled Two.
Who's Derick 1?
It's just Derick.
Who's Derick?
One of the many protagonists of the video games that we've gone over so far. It's one of those Derricks. Is his dad.
God. Probably the breakdown Derick.
That makes more sense.
Yeah. Fucking Derricks.
If your name is Derick, tweet at Podtimism.
Tweet at us. What do you think of Mewtwo?
So he's been meditating and listening to his own soundtrack to relive his glorious days. Mewtwo's like 40 years old at this point. He was very young when he starred in the Pokemon movie, but he's definitely over his peak at this point.
Mm-hmm.
He comes back and does events for children's birthdays.
Oh no, a sad arc for Mewtwo. My God.
He makes a lot of money doing it. It's an honest living.
Okay. As long as he's happy still.
He's not. But he's not starring in movies anymore.
Oh no. He's like oh God, Alan Rickman in...
I thought you were about to end the sentence with Alan Rickman. I was like, at what point are you going to disgrace his name? Yeah.
No, dude, I'm saying he's like Alan Rickman in what movie was that? Oh my God. It's the one with Sigourney Weaver and Tim Allen, and they're in space.
Galaxy Quest?
Galaxy Quest. He's like Alan Rickman in Galaxy Quest, where he's like a thespian who has gotten famous out of this one corny sci-fi role.
Yeah, from a shitty movie he didn't enjoy.
Yeah.
Mewtwo didn't like being in Pokemon the movie.
No, he's just like, it pays the bills, baby.
But now that he's too far from it, he wants to relive those days.
Exactly.
Damn, we've gotten a lot of backstory from Mewtwo.
I think this is the next Mewtwo movie right here.
Mr. Game & Watch.
His favorite music is just a series of 8-bit beeps and boops that make no sense to us.
It's chiptune. He listens to chiptune.
Chiptune.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Makes sense.
What's he doing in quarantine?
He's uninfectable with coronavirus, so I'd assume he's doing one of the many things that Mr. Game & Watch can do.
Cooking bacon. Throwing oil on the ground.
Or on people. It's not always useful.
Flying through the air on a parachute.
Uh-huh.
Hitting people with turtles.
Lifting manhole covers up.
Throwing fire at people. That one's pretty fucked up. And just hitting people in the head with hammers.
Yeah.
Just doing his thing.
So he's doing something. It may not be good all the time, but he is doing something.
Exactly.
Pichu. Unevolved form of Pikachu.
His favorite band, the soundtrack to Paw Patrol.
Oh, wow, nice. Pretty good. I hope he fucks with the Lion Guard.
The what?
The Lion Guard, the TV animated series about the son of Simba.
Never heard of it.
Fine show, definitely children's show. Music slaps.
Really?
Slaps.
Okay.
Good music on that fucking show.
But what's Pichu doing during quarantine?
Binging whatever the fuck is on YouTube. He watches those like awful YouTube compilations.
Oh, he watches like vloggers. Just vloggers.
Oh no, poor Pichu. He doesn't know any better. He's not old enough to know. Roy, friend of Marth, Roy
Orbison.
Roy only listens to bands with lead singers named Roy.
Yeah, that makes sense, right?
Roy Rogers? We comfortable with that?
He could also just do like quick and fiery music.
Yeah, but him only listening to Roy bands is pretty funny, being that there's not very many of them either.
Yeah. Roy's our boy.
It's just Roy Clark and Roy Orbison.
He listens to 2 bands. That's it.
Mostly Roy Clark. He's a country boy. He doesn't fuck with any other music, though.
I can see him being a country boy. I can see it.
What is he doing in quarantine? Roy's been making dancing compilations on TikTok.
I could see him being a TikTok fuckboy.
He gave himself an undercut real early in the quarantine, and now he's making use of it. Because he's also pretty attractive and pretty hot and like yoked. So
it's like, everybody's got to see these fiery moves I got. Yo, he does move very quickly too.
Yeah.
He's got the speed on his side.
He's a good dancer. I will give Roy that.
Mm-hmm.
And it does make it hard for him to dance to music when he doesn't really know the songs, because again, he only listens to 2 bands. So dancing is kind of a shock to his system, hearing any new music at all.
He tries really hard. He's not quite good at it, but he tries hard.
But he does have a pretty significant amount of TikTok followers, so that's it. They all go onto his page, and in every comment section do say Roy's our boy.
Roy's our boy.
Incessantly. It sort of annoys him, but he also has a lot of followers, so what the fuck can he say? And finally, Young Link.
This is the last one.
This is the last one. Young Link has only been listening to SoundCloud rappers for a while now.
Ooh, SoundCloud rappers.
He took the O out of his name. Now he's Young Link.
Oh my god. The O and the I. Young Link.
Yeah. Yep. Young Link.
Oh man. That's brutal. And he's been practicing his beats the whole time during quarantine.
Yeah, he's trying to make a break into production. He's been putting his stuff up on SoundCloud for a while, and like his lyrics and his raps aren't particularly good, but everybody always compliments him on his production, so he's been trying to up his game a little bit and get better at that.
Yeah.
Makes sense to me.
I mean, it just makes, he's just not made for rapping because he really only screams. He doesn't really ever say any words, right? He's just always just kind of spinning around and screaming when he's in front of the microphone.
But damn, the bass fucking slaps on any of the tracks he makes.
Bass slaps.
If Young Link was going to have like one of those like signatures that they put at the beginning of songs for production artists, what would it be? I wish If Young Metro Don't Trust You, I'ma Shoot You wasn't already taken, because If Young Link Don't Trust You, I'ma Stab You is pretty good. It could just be Link screaming.
I was about to say, could it be, yeah,
just with a lot of reverb, so it sounds like he's in like a cave or something.
Just a shit ton of reverb, yeah.
It's so you know it's one of his songs. He's got to put it in there.
Yeah.
Every time I'm in the street,
oh fuck.
Okay, perfect. That's all of them. We did it.
Good job.
Now
we just have, how many more are in Brawl? Like 30?
I think there was quite a few additions in Brawl. There are 18 new characters in Brawl.
18? That's not too bad.
We just did 14, so not horrible. We are at Podtimism on Twitter. Get at us.
Get at us, please.
Come talk to us. Make someone other than Tyler Tallahassee talk to us on there. Got on the review on the old Apple iTunes, so thanks for whoever did that. If you got a written one, we'll put your name right here. I'll say your name with my mouth parts. It's another 5-star. I assume it's probably another person who would rate our friendship a 5-star rather than just our show, but I will take whatever we can get.
Take what you can get. Don't question it.
I don't think there's anything else significant to talk about other than that. So we'll keep that one short and sweet. Cool. David, do you have any video game wisdom?
Surgery is hard. Just because you can do it on a video game doesn't mean you can do it in real life.
Factual. Don't take a scalpel to your friend.
Don't take a scalpel to your friend, kids.
No matter how much of the international pandemic of guilt they have. It stands for something. Hold on, I need to know what it stands for.
Oh, it's an acronym? I forgot.
Gangliated utrophin immunolatency toxin. Guilt.
Jesus.
Gangliated. I don't know if that's being used correctly there.
That ain't a word.
Utrophin is a protein, so maybe that's a thing. Yeah, don't operate on your friend who has guilt.
Yeah.
Or if your friend just has regular guilt, the feeling, not the disease,
just talk to him.
Talk to him.
Yeah. Let your ears be the scalpel to their heart.
Emotional surgery isn't as hard as real surgery, kind of.
Debatable.
It requires fewer degrees.
This is true, but also debatable in some aspects.
Also debatable. Don't go giving shitty advice.
But you don't need a degree to listen to your friend.
There it is. That's the target we were dancing around. You found it.
I got you.
The safest answer is right there.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need a... Wait, what was it? Say it
you
again.
You don't need a degree to listen to your friend.
Perfect.
Hit it out of the park.
What's that? Oh, yeah. It's a home run.
Ooh.
I saw that ball go over the fence.
Not the first time you see one of my balls.
Hey. Thought we were doing a feel-good outro here.
I thought we were doing like a baseball thing. I'm talking about baseballs. You said it was a home run. You saw the ball go over the fence. I said that's not the first time I've seen my balls. It's not the first time you've seen one of my balls. We've played many sports together, Chase. Why would you think I was being so gruesome, as you would put it?
It was a mistake I've made that I won't again.
Thank you.
Did you see that? Did you all hear that? Don't need a degree.
Don't need a degree. We just role-played that for you guys. You're welcome.
That's your model for the next week. You have homework. Goodbye.
See ya.